A young waitress watched every employee freeze the moment a black luxury car pulled into the parking lot. Plates stopped moving. Conversations ended. Even the manager looked nervous. Everyone knew who had arrived. The billionaire's daughter. People whispered that she had fired workers over tiny mistakes, made grown men cry, and never smiled at anyone. But that morning, something happened no one expected. One quiet waitress looked into the billionaire's daughter's eyes, and softly spoke a name that no one had heard in over 20 years. Everything changed. Before we begin this emotional story, welcome to Heartline Stories. If stories about kindness, hope, and second chances touch your heart, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more inspiring stories with people around the world. Emma Brooks had worked at Maple Street Diner in Chicago for almost 5 years. She wasn't the fastest waitress or the loudest one. She simply believed that every customer deserved respect, whether they ordered a cup of coffee or a full dinner. Life had not been easy for Emma. She was raising her 12-year-old son, Noah, by herself after losing her husband in a construction accident. Every tip mattered. Every extra shift helped pay rent, buy groceries, and keep Noah smiling. The diner had become her second home. One Monday morning, the manager rushed out of his office with panic written across his face. "Everyone, listen carefully," he shouted. "Sophia Bennett is coming here today." Silence filled the room. Every employee knew that name. Sophia Bennett was the daughter of billionaire businessman Richard Bennett, owner of one of the biggest restaurant companies in America. Although she owned millions of dollars, people talked more about her cold attitude than her wealth. Servers claimed she complained about everything. Managers feared her surprise visits. Workers prayed she would never sit in their section. Emma quietly tied her apron and asked, "Is she just here for breakfast?" The manager sighed. "I hope so." Around 9 o'clock, a sleek black car stopped outside. Sophia Bennett stepped out wearing a cream-colored suit and dark sunglasses. She looked confident, elegant, and completely unreachable. The entire diner became quiet. She chose a table by the window. The manager walked toward Emma. "Take care of her," he whispered. Emma nodded calmly. She walked over with a warm smile. "Good morning. Welcome. My name is Emma. I'll be taking care of you today." Sophia barely looked up. Black coffee. Scrambled eggs. Wheat toast. Emma smiled. Coming right up. She noticed something unusual. Sophia looked exhausted. Not angry. Not proud. Just tired. Dark circles rested beneath her eyes, and although she sat perfectly straight, there was sadness hiding behind her confident expression. Emma served the breakfast exactly as ordered. When Sophia reached for her coffee, her hand trembled slightly. Emma gently asked, "Would you like some water too?" Sophia looked surprised. No one usually asks. Emma smiled. Sometimes people need water more than coffee. For the first time that morning, Sophia gave a tiny smile. As Emma walked away, another waitress whispered, "Don't waste your kindness. She doesn't appreciate anyone." Emma simply replied, "Kindness isn't something you earn. It's something you choose." A few minutes later, an elderly customer accidentally bumped into Sophia's table. Coffee spilled across expensive documents. The old man immediately apologized. "I'm so sorry." Everyone held their breath. They expected shouting. Instead, Sophia quietly closed her eyes. Before she could speak, Emma rushed over with fresh towels. "It's okay," Emma said softly. "Accidents happen." She carefully cleaned the table while comforting the frightened man. Then Emma looked at Sophia. "I'll replace everything." Sophia watched her without saying a word. When the old man left, Sophia finally spoke. "Why did you defend him?" Emma answered honestly. "Because he already felt terrible. He didn't need more fear." Sophia stared at Emma for several seconds. You really believe that? I do. Sophia slowly nodded. My father used to say something similar. Emma smiled. He sounds like a wise man. Sophia looked down. He was. Emma noticed the sadness again. The conversation ended there. Later that afternoon, Sophia remained at the table working on paperwork. Emma brought her a fresh cup of coffee without being asked. This one's on the house. Sophia looked confused. Why? You've been here for hours. No one gives free coffee anymore. Emma laughed softly. Some people still do. Sophia wrapped both hands around the warm mug. It reminds me of someone. Emma looked at the silver necklace around Sophia's neck. A tiny heart-shaped pendant rested against her collar. Emma suddenly froze. She had seen that necklace before. Many years earlier. In another city. In another life. Very quietly, Emma whispered one word. Lily. Sophia's eyes widened. The coffee cup nearly slipped from her hands. No one calls me that. Emma smiled gently. I remember a little girl named Lily who always wore that necklace. Sophia stared at her in disbelief. Who are you? Emma took a slow breath. 22 years ago, I volunteered at St. Mary's Children's Shelter. Sophia's face turned pale. I lived there. Emma nodded. You cried every night because you missed your father while he was building his company. You told me your favorite nickname was Lily. Tears filled Sophia's eyes. I thought everyone forgot. Emma smiled warmly. I never forgot. For several moments neither woman spoke. The busy restaurant seemed to disappear. Sophia quietly wiped away tears. I haven't heard that name since I was 8 years old. Emma reached across the table. Little Lily wasn't cold. Sophia lowered her head. Life changed me. Emma answered gently. Life changes everyone. Kindness helps us find ourselves again. Sophia broke down crying. I've spent years trying to prove I was strong. Emma softly replied, strong people don't need to make others feel small. Those simple words reached deeper than any business speech Sophia had ever heard. She admitted something she had never shared publicly. My father died last year. Emma listened silently. Since then I'd been terrified of disappointing everyone. I thought acting tough would earn respect. Emma shook her head. Fear creates distance. Kindness builds trust. Sophia cried openly now. Employees across the diner watched in complete shock. The woman everyone feared looked like a lonely little girl again. Before leaving, Sophia stood in the center of the restaurant. She cleared her throat. I owe everyone here an apology. Every employee stopped working. I've spent years believing respect comes from power. Today Emma reminded me that respect comes from compassion. She turned toward the manager. No employee from this diner will ever lose their job because of me. Then she surprised everyone once more. She announced that every worker would receive a generous bonus through the Bennett Foundation. The restaurant erupted in tears and applause. But Emma simply smiled. Later that evening, Sophia walked Emma to her old car. You changed my life today. Emma shook her head. No. She pointed toward Sophia's heart. You remembered who you already were. Sophia hugged Emma tightly. For the first time in many years, she felt lighter. Months later, the Bennett Restaurant Group introduced a new company program focused on kindness, employee support, and mental health. Managers across the country were trained to lead with compassion instead of fear. Whenever reporters asked Sophia what inspired the change, she smiled and gave the same answer. A waitress remembered my real name. Emma never became famous. She never appeared on television. She continued serving breakfast, pouring coffee, and greeting strangers with the same warm smile. Because she understood something many people forget. The smallest act of kindness can awaken the best part of someone's heart. You never truly know what battle another person is fighting. The person who seems cold may simply be carrying invisible pain. A gentle word, patient smile, or simple act of compassion can become the turning point that changes an entire life. If this story touched your heart, remember that kindness costs nothing, yet its value is beyond measure. Every smile you share, every helping hand you offer, and every person you choose to treat with respect creates ripples that travel farther than you may ever see. Thank you for spending time with Heartline Stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs a little hope today. Together, let's make the world brighter, one act of kindness at a time.